the late 80s, Guild was one of our bigger customers, and they went into a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. We went up to the auction, and there were multiple other people there interested. Fred Gretsch was there. He wanted to make Gretsch guitars in their factory. We kept bidding, and Chuck Foss, he owned a Randall Amplifiers, and he bid it up to about 2.1 million. We kept countering. It was a little bit of a stretch for us. So we kind of walked away from it. I said to my brother, maybe this is an omen that we should stick to what we're really good at. We're good at small goods. And a lot of times in our industry, most of the time, the guitar companies, they don't really focus on the accessories and the strings because they're really concentrate their best people and most of their investments on their instruments because that's their main thing. And then the strings are kind of an afterthought, right? And I felt like, well, if we did that, that might happen to us as well. We decided that we were not going to pursue instruments, not even consider that. Just look for accessory opportunities. The inspiration for the environmental packaging came about one night when I was changing strings on my bed. When I was done, I had all the various pieces of packaging plus the old strings. And my 16-year-old daughter, Amy, she said, boy, you really make a lot of garbage when you change a set of strings. You should try to have a better package than that. I started experimenting with some different packaging formats. One of the things that dawned on me was the idea that, well, maybe somehow utilizing the colored ball ends. The standard package was a vinyl pouch, which not the best material in the world to be manufacturing and throwing in landfills, and then 6 envelopes made of a paper that theoretically is recyclable, but it's still a lot of paper. Then a label to identify the set, that's 7. And then the toxic plastic bag, 8 pieces of packaging. So it dawned on me that, well, maybe we can do something clever with a more protective polyethylene recyclable bag for the 6 strings with colored ball ends on them and eliminating the 6 paper envelopes. Put that into a paper, nice looking, beautifully printed paper envelope that could be even made from recycled paper. We used this photograph from outer space that was published by NASA, and inside was a plastic bag that was sealed that actually gave the strings better corrosion protection than this open vinyl pouch and paper envelopes. And we would even enhance that in a few years with a corrosion intercept bag and then later on a VCI bag, both of which really protect metals from corroding. Since the start of the environmental string program in the early 90s, we have saved 2,112,000,000 envelopes. So the amount of paper we saved was close to 10 million pounds. We got a congressional recognition award. It's really quite astonishing that a small company like Dario can make that much of a difference by just changing something, and it was like this big win-win-win for the company and the consumer. Some of us old-timers remember a program called Players Points. We wanted to have a way of tying it together and rewarding people for buying this package. So we began to put points on the back of the packages, Players Points we called them, and you could accumulate these packages and add up the points and send them in for credit towards some free merchandise. We'd get these things in the mail and then we would ship them out. But it was a clumsy redemption process. When we were rebranding the entire company, we envisioned how we could maybe make this a program that could go global on the internet ultimately, basically make it completely digital. We named it Players Circle.
This isn't some punch card. This is Players Circle, Dario's rewards program, and your passport into a world of free gear, free shipping, and insider access.
Every set, the inner bag would have a hidden serial number that was unique to that set of strings. And you could go on the website, and when you type that code in, it would tell you whether or not it was possibly a counterfeit or fake. So every one of the folks that signs up for Player Circle, we know exactly what product they bought. So like right now, we've developed this really unique USB power system for pedal boards. We think it's great. Us little 5 internal guys here in the brainstorming sessions think, oh, wow, we've got a great product here. But before we go into full production, we make a pilot run, 50, 100, 200, and we do a test market and a survey on Player Circle right to the type of person that we know uses that. We ask them, you want to be a beta tester? We could get 2,000-3,000 names of the perfect person to test that. It's like having a lab in the cloud. It's there for us when we need it. They love participating. In fact, it makes them more loyal, especially if they tell their friends, oh man, I tested that when they were the prototype, you know. They become advocates for us. Sometime in the mid-1990s, we had the desire to start expanding into other accessories with the D'Addario brand. My ilk was always, oh, well, if I can't make it better, I don't really want to make it. We were going to build D'Addario accessories, and we were looking at guitar straps. This was the way we would sell a regular fabric strap. But I remember going to visit Sam Ash, and Richie Ash says to me, you guys have to make more exciting straps. Look at these Planet Wave straps. They were all these bright colors, and the fabric was like this jacquard woven designs. Two brothers, the Szilagyi brothers, they branded them Planet Waves because Bob Dylan had put an album out called Planet Waves. They would hope that Bob Dylan would sue him and he'd get to meet him in court. But the Planet Waves acquisition in 1998 gave us a kind of a launching pad to go into the accessory business in a big way. So we immediately taken this Planet Waves brand looking to innovate, and that became the mantra for all the accessories that later on were branded Planet Waves. The straps gave us the foray into having that opportunity to be the innovator in accessories. I always had this obsession with coming up with some way of making a guitar strap come on and off a guitar easier, but not come off when you don't want it to. I started in 1995 to try to design a solution for this, and this was my first foray into the challenge, which was kind of a single position locking thing. It actually worked, but it wasn't elegant, and it was kind of a two-handed operation. And after acquiring Planet Waves, I developed this lock called the Planet Lock, and I thought, oh wow, this is cool, except it didn't hold very well, so I had to go back to the drawing board and add a little mechanism in there to lock it. So this is the second iteration. This worked great. One complaint we had was that, you know, if you had a Les Paul or another Gibson with an end pin on the back, that, you know, the strap would be twisted, and I wanted to have a solution to that. What was nice about this one is if you did have a guitar where you wanted to rotate the buckle around, you could just do that, and now the strap wouldn't be twisted in the back if your guitar had a pin on the back. You know, it was a two-handed deal. And then we said, we want to go back to something similar to this original design because people really like this. And we designed this one, which really did us well for a long time. And this one worked very nicely. We developed this much nicer design, but it's low-key logo representation as well. But it's all rubberized, so it doesn't scratch a guitar at all. And this is what we sell now. It's quite successful. And then I met Ned Steinberger at the NAMM show. And one day he brought to us this little idea called the Auto Lock. And it works great. It's easy to make, and I don't have as many sleepless nights thinking about locking a guitar strap onto a guitar anymore because we've got the perfect solution. So onto something else to keep me awake. Another product that I thought was really needed was good humidification. We decided to try to make something as an in-hole humidifier. And it also could be left in the guitar if you were hanging it, and would help keep the body humidified. So this was the first iteration of that. It kind of went in on an angle into the guitar so that it went into the main part of the body a little bit. And that eventually evolved into something simpler, a little smaller, and this is what we sell today. We've been building various different capo designs with Ned Steinberger. And this became what we call the dual action capo. It's really a great design and it works awesome. And then we came up with another version that we called the artist capo. And now we're just in beta testing on a version of this that's actually a composite carbon fiber material that we're molding right here that's like stronger than steel. In 1997, I got an email from Art Pantoja, who was the inventor or the guy who conceived of putting a string cutter with a peg wender. He sent me this metal prototype, which was machined, and it wasn't very ergonomic, but it did do the job. And then Ned Steinberger, we talked, and I said, maybe you can help me with this idea. So this was the design that Ned came up with, and it was clever that he built the bridge pin puller into the handle. And I think we possibly shipped about 5,000 this way. I mean, they worked, but they were ugly, simple to make, and we made it here in America. But it wasn't very ergonomic, and these grips were falling off. So then we did this crappy rendition where we put shrink tubing on to cover the blades up. People didn't mind that it wasn't pretty, and that's the way it lived for, I'd say, until 2000 or 2001 when I designed this one, and this was our model for at least 5 years, and that's when this started to grow into being a pretty big product, big selling product for us. And then, you know, we were looking to maybe make it a little more unique. We really put some engineering time into it. We just upgraded this to a better bridge pin puller and a bushing in here is to make this turn more smoothly. And this is the version we're actually molding and assembling here in New York. So this is, you know, one of our largest selling products. And I know most guitar players, they've got one of these in every guitar case. I drive these guys crazy because as soon as they finish something great, I see another way of making it a little better. To me, nothing's ever really good enough.